Yo, what's going on, everybody? This your boy G.O.D. back in the building with my main man, B. Scott. We got those hot pickups for you this week. Week 9, waiver wire, right after the logo. First word downs, baby. You know what it is. Let's get it.
What's going on, everybody? Week 8's in the books. It's on to week 9, and we're talking waiver. This week, there were some injuries, and obviously you got to deal with some bye weeks, huge bye weeks this week. So first off, we're going to look at the running back position, and the top of my waiver has Jalen Samuels on it. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, thing about that, you know, James Conner may be out. They said he might have a sprained AC joint or whatever. He was in a sling. They're saying it's precautionary after the game. Mike Tomlin saying that it might be a minor injury. The thing about their back is all three of them been hurt. You know what I'm saying? Benny Snell's obviously been hurt. Jalen Samuels just went through a knee scope. So they're saying that he might be back this week. But if he is back this week, of course, that's the top pickup of the week. You know what I mean? Like consistency, you would have to go pick him up. With his pass catching ability and Mason Rudolph only throwing the running backs right now in the short game, he's an excellent pickup for this week, I think.
Yeah, I mean, me too. James Conner, you know his injury history. You know he always gets hurt, and he misses a lot of time. Sometimes, you know, not long-term time, but misses time intermittently throughout the season. So I like Jalen Samuels' big pickup this week because you never know with the shoulder. Obviously, running backs can play through it. It's kind of a pain tolerance thing, but he's definitely a guy you got to get. I mean, in that offense, that type of offense that runs, he could be a RB1, you know, if he's starting the game. So next up on the docket, I think, for running back position, we got to talk about Mark Walton. And the thing with Mark Walton is he's in the Dolphins offense. I get it. It's a struggling offense. But the good part about it is he's seeing a lot of work. I mean, his snap share, they trade Kenyon Drake. His snap share is huge. And 6 targets last week against Pittsburgh Steelers with 11 carries. He's on the field a lot. And it's the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, man. That's a pretty tough defense to run against on the road. So I think Mark Walton's a huge pickup down the stretch. He's got an easy strength schedule and a guy that you possibly might have to flex. Or let's say you get a guy that gets hurt, you might have to be playing him as your RB2.
Yeah, I kind of agree there. You know, as an athlete, I don't see nothing special with Walton at all. You know what I mean? Especially you think about the red zone. You know what I mean? If they're able to get to the red zone, you wonder if Kalen Ballage is going to vulture some of that touchdown goal line 10-5 zone work. You know what I mean? Yes, he's an RB1. He should be owned, but that goes the same to say about Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones, and you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's going to be there may be a lot of inconsistency there, but like you said, the matchups are almost cake. So,
yeah, down the stretch.
You know, you would have to, if you're in trouble or you need, you know, a bye week filler or something like that, or you got one of these David Johnsons or Kamaras that's been out with injuries, maybe you take a chance on Mark Walton.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You might need him.
Yeah.
Last running back, we're talking about Jamal Williams. What do you think?
I think Jamal Williams should be owned everywhere. 40% available right now. His rest of season value should be good. You know what I mean? Him and Aaron Jones are producing in a split very well, producing very big. Came off a 2-touchdown game. And for the rest of the season, his strength of schedule is on the softer side. You know what I mean? The only tough games that they have is San Francisco in Week 12 and the Fantasy Championship, Minnesota. But other than that, you know, he should get a lot of run. He's really good in offense, you know what I mean? And they're a high-scoring offense, you know what I mean? He's going to get time.
Yeah, and also with Green Bay, they're lacking at the wide receiver position. I mean, Devontae Adams, he'll be back, hopefully, eventually, but, you know, outside of him, no one's really done anything. So that running back tandem's really filled in nicely for the lack of wide receiver position depth that they have. So, yeah, Jamal Williams definitely should be owned, and easily a flexible guy.
Yeah,
so,
great playmaker.
So, yeah, we can move on to the wide receivers now. And the top of my list, it's hard to put anybody at the top, but I would say let's start out with Danny Amendola for the Detroit Lions. And you saw last week, I want to say he had 8 targets last week. The week before that, 11 targets. So 19 targets over the last 2 weeks. And in an offense that's looking to throw the football. They can't run the football at all. So what do you think?
Yeah, man. It's crazy to see Amendola over there and producing finally. You know what I mean? Like you said, with those 19 targets over the last 2 weeks, he's put out 16 receptions for 200 yards in a slot role. You know what I'm saying? So you think about
Kenny Golladay and the big play ability of Marvin Jones Jr., where those guys are a lot of times double covered, and you got him just a matchup nightmare against a slot corner or possibly even a linebacker, you know what I'm saying? So this week, you know what I'm saying, he gets the Raiders, who's been getting drugged by slot receivers all season, you know what I mean? So that would probably be my number one pickup, of course, you know what I mean? Matthew Stafford is no chump. And he's going to see volume. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, those big guys, Golladay, Marvin Jones, they're always going to be covered. You know what I'm saying? They still make big plays. So he's left to be like wide open, catching those dumps. You know what I'm saying? So
and he should
continue to produce.
And they got a full running back committee. You know what I mean? With Kerryon Johnson out. So it doesn't look like anybody's going to stand out in that backfield. They're going to be throwing the football.
Yep.
It's plain and simple. And the defense looked even worse last week against the Giants. So they're going to be in shootouts a lot. So I think Danny Amendola has some huge value.
Yeah, I agree there.
Anybody else? You got another receiver?
If you drop Deshaun Jackson, you know what I mean? The time right now is probably to pick him back up. You know, he's been out for a minute, but he's a huge part of that offense. And you could see it clearly in week 1 against Washington. He put up the 154 and 2 touchdowns. And that kind of guy, he's a speedster. You know what I'm saying? He opens up the field for everybody else. If you look at Zach Ertz, he hasn't really produced what fantasy owners wanted him to so far. But with the addition of Deshaun Jackson, who looked like the go-to receiver for Carson Wentz, so that should help him and Ertz, you know what I'm saying, pick up their production as they've been struggling in the recent weeks.
Yeah, I definitely like Deshaun Jackson. He's got a couple good matchups coming up down the road, so that could help you get to where you need to be.
Yeah.
But couple other quick notes on some receivers. Deontay Johnson yesterday or last week against Miami Dolphins. You saw it seems like he's got a pretty good rapport with Mason Rudolph. That's another guy that can put up solid fantasy numbers down the stretch. Strength schedule is pretty easy. Another quick hit, Chris Conley, Jacksonville.
Yeah, I like Chris Conley a lot.
Yeah, I mean his target share is going up. Day-Day's looking hurt. We'll see how serious his injuries are. But and then Darius Slayton on the Giants. The strength of schedule, man, especially in the playoffs, cakewalk. And he's made some amazing plays.
Yeah, Darius Slayton is a dope rookie wide receiver out of Auburn. A tremendous 4.3 speed. You seen him last week coming off a two touchdown performance. He's looked the part so far, but you have to wonder, with Sterling Shepard starting to look like he's questionable to come back, will the snap share reduce? You know what I mean? And Monday night is a pretty bad matchup against the Cowboys. You know what I mean? But the rest of this season, he has some pretty good fantasy playoff matchups as well. I think you got the Dolphins, Miami, and Washington in 14, 15, 16. So, You know what I mean? That's somebody that you might want to keep an eye out for right now. You know, his production at a standpoint right now looks like it's boom or bust, but you never know. You know, as Danny Dimes and that offense starts to get more healthy, he may be a guy that he just completely targets. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You never know with injuries, too. So,
yeah.
Well, I guess we can move on to the tight end position. There's a couple tight ends actually this week that are viable pickup options for sure. Obviously, Jonnu Smith, you saw it last week. He definitely produced, and I liked him last year. But with Delaney over there, it's hard to judge on that.
Yeah.
So definitely with Delaney looking like he's going to be missing some time, I think Jonnu Smith's a solid option to be a top 10 tight end on a weekly basis.
Yeah, pretty good guy.
So, and then Darren Fells, he's on an offense that is high power. They throw the football a lot. Deshaun Watson makes some plays, and you already see it. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season. And, his target share may not be there, but, hey, he's getting red zone targets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For the tight end position.
And also Cameron Brate, you know what I mean? They're pretty much the same thing. They're going to get those red zone targets. So, I mean, it's worth the money if you got a bench spot for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you need to take a chance. I mean, if you don't have a top 5 tight end and you're just shooting in the dark, those are guys easy to have in your lineup on a weekly basis. So last thing I want to talk about, a couple quarterbacks. One to stream this week for sure is Derek Carr playing the Detroit Lions. Derek Carr and the Oakland Raiders at home against the Detroit Lions. And they got roasted last week by Danny Dimes. Derek Carr, it's hard pressed for me to trust him on the fantasy level because as consistent as he is, he just doesn't usually have those big blow-up games.
Yeah.
So it's hard to judge for that. But and especially Josh Jacobs this week should have a huge day. But Derek Carr definitely streaming this week.
Yeah, it's crazy, because at the beginning of the season, you started to see Josh Jacobs produce, and then you started seeing Tyrell Williams have a touchdown in every single game. Then he went out. Then Waller started to beast. Now they got the perfect recipe all together. So we might see a big explosive performance out of Derek Carr finally. You know what I'm saying? Maybe looking back to the old Derek Carr before that gruesome injury he had.
This could be a flat out shootout.
Yeah,
I mean, you got two bad defenses and two solid offenses, so that's definitely the stream for me of the week. And then a couple quarterbacks if you're looking ahead for the playoff matchups. I like Daniel Jones. Just the matchups, like you said, Miami, Washington, Philly, 14, 15, 16.
Ridiculous.
I mean, those should be easily 30-point games. You know, all three of those matchups should be a cakewalk. So if you got a roster spot, and let's say you're way ahead and you're looking towards playoffs already, that's one of the guys.
Yeah. One
other guy, I know it sounds crazy, Ryan Fitzpatrick of the Miami Dolphins. Now, last night, you saw it.
He's a professor. He went to Harvard.
I want to say he had the highest Wonderlic score of any quarterback ever.
That's crazy.
But anyway, so I get it. It's the Miami Dolphins. How could you start Ryan Fitzpatrick? But the playoff schedule, man, it bodes well. The Giants, the Jets, the Bengals. So that's a pretty easy schedule for a guy if you're looking to stream guys. I know if you got Matt Ryan in Week 15 looking at the Niners, no way.
Yeah, no.
It's impossible. So there's some tough matchups down the stretch, some hard-pressed games, Week 14, 15, 16. Those are definitely some guys.
Yep.
And so one last defense, I want to just throw a couple defenses in there this week. Obviously, the Jets defense stream. They're playing the Dolphins. I'd be hard-pressed because the Jets defense does not look very good.
They
so
suck.
I'd be worried of that in that game. I think the Dolphins might even pull out a win. Sam Darnold is hurt with the thumb injury. So
I think we might see Sam Darnold finally have a good game.
I think he will too, but he's got the sprained thumb.
Yeah.
So they said it's just a pain tolerance thing, but even then, I'm hard-pressed to trust the Jets defense. Ryan Fitzpatrick looked pretty good last night. The line couldn't hold up in that second half. So that was the struggles for him, in my opinion. And then obviously one defense that you want to really try and target for the playoffs is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
They've looked the part over the last few weeks, and their schedule down the stretch is pretty easy.
Yeah,
so,
I think they walked in Monday night taking the Dolphins a little bit too light and got shocked early. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, come on, man, they're very good. I like this. I love that I seen Minka Fitzpatrick get that interception.
Two of them.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So against his old team, they're just good, man. Go pick them up, start them against all those weak matchups. Yeah, plug and play easily.
Absolutely, and we're at that halfway point where you're looking towards playoffs for some teams, or some teams you're just you're trying to fill your roster. Yeah, just out. So, but anyway, that's been the Week 9 waiver wire.
Yeah, that about wraps it up for the Week 9 waiver wire. God,
B. Scott.
We out.